up. We feel their pain. The truth is out. The case is closed. But our search for justice never slows.
Hey everyone, happy February. I can't believe it's February already. It seems like I just started the school year, but we are in February, so only a couple months until spring, which is great because it is a balmy 15 degrees here, and we got about 4 to 5 inches of snow overnight. So I spent some of my morning moving snow, and then I spent some time trying to organize. So I see Angie is also cleaning. I wanted to get more done than I did, but I did get half my goal done. So after this live, I need to finish what I had hoped to get done before the live. So thanks for being here. Opal was first. Oh, Opal was very early. Be Real, thanks for being here. Eavesdropper, Sinner, as always. Angie, hello again. Curious, thanks for being here. Hey, Kit, how's it going? How's it going? I've been watching your shorts on TikTok. Just Irish, good to see you. It's been a little bit. Pookie, thanks for being here. Hey, Ninja, how are you? Be Real is cooking and cleaning yourself, yeah. Yes, Team Brit. I did not finish. Well, they're not really chores. I've been watching a lot of organizing videos. One of them, the name of the creator is Clutterbug. And I just started watching her videos, and I'm trying to use some of her tips to just get rid of stuff, because like the two things that I'm going through today, they've been sitting for probably 6 months or more. Clearly, I don't need what's in them. So I'm trying to instill some new organizing habits, but it's not going very well. It's not going very well. Milwaukee is going to get snow tonight. It's supposed to be 40 on Monday here. So it's definitely going to warm up a little bit, but then it gets cold again. Team Brit, I don't watch Home Edit, but I do have their books. I do have the books. That's cool, Curious. Doing an imitation of a couch potato. That's always a good imitation to do. All right, so today I don't have a whole lot for this live, but there was a press conference this morning at 9 Eastern that they did give a few more details. And I also have a clip of this man and I would presume his wife, were eating at a diner nearby where the plane crashed. And I mean, it was, once you see the video, I had said to Sinner earlier, it's a good thing he was wearing a hat. It's bizarre. Thanks, Sinner, for gifting a membership, and welcome, Kit. Welcome to the Stoners. All right, and the first thing I have is, many of you may not have seen my live from last night where we watched, there were a few videos that were captured on Ring doorbell cams. I had posted one as a short. YouTube got me, though, said it was, I don't even remember. It was not suited for all viewers, which I get. But this guy was sitting, well, not sitting, he was driving down, I would assume he was on Cottman Avenue in Philadelphia. And all of a sudden you see this ball of fire, and he's like, what the fuck? And I would have freaked out. I probably would have peed my pants or worse. The one video I don't think that's in this clip is, I had seen another one where this man and a woman were, I'm assuming, in their car outside of Dunkin' Donuts. And all of a sudden you see this huge explosion, and just sadly, all 6 people on the plane perished, and a 7th person who was in a car at the intersection also lost their life due to the crash. So I do have my viewer discretion advised. There is nothing graphic in the videos. I made sure not to get the reporter that we had quite a bit yesterday, because he was starting to irritate me with the way he was describing those who were injured. Hopefully he stops doing that. All right, so let me add this. Hey, Coddle, how are you? Haven't seen you in a little bit. All right, we're talking about gold stars. Oh, like in school, you get... I love using stickers, but high school kids aren't... I mean, some of them are like stickers, but other ones are like, like, I don't know. They're too cool for stickers these days. Hey, Esther, how are you? I'm not sure. You said thank you. I'm not sure why you said thank you, but you're welcome. You're welcome. So this first video, for those of you just coming in, thank you for being here. This is a compilation of all of the different videos that have been circulating through social media, through mainstream media. They kind of put it all together. Hey, Janelle, how are you? Oh, you're welcome, Esther. You're welcome. I've also been following the crash in DC, and that is just, I just can't. They've recovered just over half of those who perished. And I believe today they were working to remove the Black Hawk helicopter. And then once they had the helicopter out, they were going to work on removing the fuselage of the airliner. So I have been following that, and I probably will do a live on the victims of that crash sometime this week. I just don't know when. But I've been gathering videos and things like that. So look for that as we go. Be real. Oh my gosh. The racism that has been thrown into this devastation has me angry. Yeah. And even I try not to look at the chats. I have seen a lot of mainstream media has actually disabled their chats, which I'm glad for, because people are, they're saying, the pilot sounded like he had an accent. Well, no shit, Sherlock. He was from Mexico. Like, it's not this huge, conspiracy, or, they're trying to make things into something it's not. It was a tragic accident where 6 people lost their lives. A little girl who came to the United States to get medical treatment that probably wasn't in Mexico, and she was on her way home. I mean, I just don't get it. Pookie, I know. It amazes me how racism, politics, and religion get brought up in these disasters. Hey, is it Weejabi? That's a cute name. I did see that, Weejabi. The president said it was a DEI issue that caused the crash. He did. And, there's others. I stopped at my parents' yesterday after school, and we were kind of talking about it a little. And there are some who are claiming that one of the air traffic controllers was transgender. And I said to my dad, I said, so what? And he's like, exactly. None of this matters. Like, it just makes me so mad. It just makes me so mad. Yeah, I agree, eavesdropper. A life is a life. Sad that people are so ignorant. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Who cares? $100,000 for a little girl. Yeah. And I mean, she was clear to go home. And I mean, we have to celebrate that. Like she was able to go back home. Oh, that in the fires too, Pookie? Unbelievable. I'm glad I didn't see that. Like, I don't like ignorant people. Not at all. All right, so viewer discretion advised. Again, nothing graphic in this video, but it could be distressing to some. Also, I would say earbud warning because some of them may be a little bit louder than others. I think in the second video they show, it's very piercing. At least it was to me. All right, let me get on the right screen. Oh, and there's no closed captioning. That stinks. And Wee Jobby, thank you so much. You did not have to do that. But I will say the kittens and the rescue will benefit greatly from that. Your heart is good, Headstones. I try. That is really kind. Really kind. Thank you. So what I was going to say is with the first video, it dropped so fast. My sister had heard last night somewhere they had estimated it was falling at a speed of 11,000 feet per minute. I wouldn't doubt that, considering, I mean, that was maybe 10 seconds, not even. It just down. Oops. And so this is where I'm glad they slowed it down and circled it. So this is where I had initially thought that the jet may have already been on fire. But now that I see it in this still, it just looks like it's completely free falling. Like there's no, it doesn't look like there was any fire. But then again, it's, a little blurry. Wild. And then the dogs, and then you see people's lights come on, like what the hell just happened? Yes, there was a pilot and co-pilot. And the US Sun has identified the pilots, but I'm going to wait because they're the only ones reporting on it. So I'm going to wait to do that because I just want to make sure that it's legitimate. Not saying that the US Sun would not be correct, but I don't necessarily trust them as much as others. So this one is where I was, he was at a light and he was just starting to go through the light. So this is the one where I was like, I would have peed my pants. I don't even know. You're just driving along and then all of a sudden out of the sky, something falls and then this huge fireball. Like, whoa. And this one I'm going to replay just because for me, this is the one that it sounded weird to me, almost like, not that the airplane would have brakes, like a car, hitting the brakes, but I'm guessing it was the speed that caused that sound, like just that kind of like grinding sound. That's a pretty huge boom. And I feel too, like with ring cams these days, like, ring cams, dash cams, investigators are going to be able to get a lot of perspectives into, oh, and I just realized the smoke is over here to the right. So there's, over here is where it is. They're going to be able to see a lot from it. Oh gosh, there are cars on fire. I just saw. I didn't notice that the first time.
You know what happened? A plane. One plane. Yeah. Yeah, plane. No, a plane came down. Yeah, one plane crashed.
And that just reminded me, this man speaking, the other thing, we were talking about ignorance. And, I saw in one chat, people are saying, that it was terroristic because a man shouted Allah Akbar in the video. He was probably like, when we say, Jesus Christ or oh my God, that's probably his reaction, is to, speak to his God. And people are trying to make it into something it's not. It just boggles my mind that people are so ignorant to other cultures.
Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my God. It's crazy.
And just the chaos involved in that. Exactly, Just Irish. It means God is great. But, ignorant people probably don't know that. They probably don't even know what it means. And they're saying that it's this bad thing. Educating oneself is, priceless. Pookie said in the comments about the pilot sounding foreign, do they realize how many foreign pilots fly in and out every day? And as Just Irish said, no, they don't. Nope. The only people who fly are Americans, no one from other countries. There's no other pilots from, France or Spain, anywhere, just Americans.
What exploded? What exploded?
I don't know what the There's 2 cars burning.
Right, and that was, so at the end of that one, the one guy said, what's burning? And the other one is like, I don't know, there's 2 cars on fire. But, I mean, it's sad. Sad all around. Yeah, Team Brit, there's a lot. Most are actually better pilots, by the way. Yeah, be real. And I feel so bad for these people. Our country's been through so much in the last 4 months and just the last week. And Pookie and Team Brit actually both said to me, things always happen in threes. Hopefully it doesn't this time. Hopefully there's nothing else that's going to happen. But to have, the DC crash happen on Wednesday night, this happens on Friday night. I mean, it's a lot. And I swear people on YouTube live a one-dimensional life sometimes, possibly. Oh, Ninja, no, it wasn't. So I had said yesterday there was another on the scanner. There was a car because we were getting bad weather, and so it was a car down a ravine. But as far as I know, everyone was okay. Everyone was okay. Yeah, Just Irish. Bottom line is FAA is extremely understaffed. Yeah. And the air traffic controller that, was assigned to these two, the helicopter and the plane, normally they would only do a helicopter or only do the plane. But then after, I believe they said 9:30 p.m. After 9:30 p.m., because traffic would slow a little bit at Reagan, some of the controllers would do both. They would do helicopter traffic and plane traffic. And so, I had read an article, the person was allowed to go home early. And so people are like, they shouldn't have been able to go home early. They should have finished their shift. How do you know they weren't covering for someone else and did 2 shifts? And so they said, we got it. You can go. Would you rather someone, we don't know the circumstance. This is all, speculation, but how do we know that they weren't working 2 shifts and it's better for them to go home than to fall asleep? Because then if that person fell asleep, then it would be like, why didn't you let them go home? Why were they being overworked? There's always something. So my Nana always said these things happen in threes. SpaceX rocket exploded before the planes went down. That's 3. I didn't hear about the SpaceX rocket. When was that? How did I not hear that? Okay, was it 2 weeks ago? Oh, SpaceX launch accident likely caused by fire that sent trails of flaming debris to break off apart during liftoff. Interesting. I had not heard about that, so thanks for mentioning that. Anyone scared to plan a vacation? I'm hesitant right now to book a spring flight. I would be a little anxious, but I mean, we're safer in an airplane than we are in a car. We were very nearby during the DC one, and that's actually the first thing I said. 2 more coming. Yeah, Just Irish. I mean, there's shortage of staff in a lot of venues, and they But based on what I've also read is the helicopter was way higher than it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be at 200 or below feet. It was at 400 feet, and it had also deviated from its flight plan. So again, that's just, based on what people have seen with flight, those flight apps or whatever. So that's why the NTSB is investigating. They will get down to it. Oh, Elon didn't tell me about the rocket. I still have to know about that one. Well, Elon has been, he's been busy with other things, it seems. Yes, and with the DC crash, the family has asked that the third pilot not be identified, which I don't blame them. If I had that choice, I probably would take it too, because, there's always a blame game. And then the families are affected, even though they had nothing to do with it. All right. So this next one is of this man. So this man here in the hat he's just hanging out. This is what I presume to be his wife. This woman got up. She had just gotten up to walk to wherever. She's near the buffet. And projectiles crashed through the windows of this diner.
Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson is live with information from the scene there in Northeast Philadelphia. Becca.
Maggie, we are here at Cottman in the Boulevard. We're waiting on that press conference we've been telling you all morning is supposed to happen at 9 a.m. Now, I did speak with some officials this morning. More and more investigators are pouring onto the scene. The delay in waiting for that press conference has a lot to do with making sure that everyone, all of these partners with these massive investigation, are up to speed and on the same page about what's going on. We've only had a couple hours of daylight here at this point, and that is why investigators are at this massive scene behind me here on Cottman in the Boulevard, really getting their first look since last night at the massive crater that was created because of that.
And it was so close to that gas station. So close to that gas station. And I'm sure there were others in the area, but
plane crash. You can see the police presence here. We have Philadelphia police, state troopers, so many law enforcement partners in this, all investigating this. Take a look at the Ring video we've been showing you all morning and last night too, of that plane falling out of the sky at Cottman in the Boulevard, coming from the Northeast Airport. The impact causing this, that massive fireball is what it looked like and what it was really, and the devastation that followed that, just so shocking to see in such a densely populated area of Philadelphia. Just to rehash, it happened between 6 and 6:30 last night. A medical transport plane with 6 people on board, including a child, a patient who was here to get treatment, her mother, and 4 crew members. A Learjet 55 that had just left the Northeast Airport, according to authorities. It was on its way to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. It was a medical rescue plane. And I want to show you now what we found here on the scene. We're about a quarter mile away on Cottman and the Boulevard from where that crash happened. And you can see this cylinder. It appears to look like some sort of oxygen tank. This was a piece of the plane that flew.
Clearly it was a piece of the plane. Miss Reporter. But they said a lot of the debris went a quarter of a mile away. And I'm sure that there could be, debris further than that, depending on, the velocity.
Flew a quarter mile away. I was talking to investigators about this because, of course, the guidance we're giving is call 911, don't touch debris. They're aware of that piece there. And they said there's actually another tank a little bit closer to the scene from where we are too. So the pieces of this plane flying everywhere, including, and we have surveillance video of this just obtained this morning, a piece of that plane flying into Four Seasons Diner. This is a restaurant near us, so again, about a quarter mile away.
So that's where I said, I believe, and this is just my opinion, that hat that this man was wearing somehow, I don't know, deflected that piece of debris, because you can see it fling his hat off. And I just feel like if he hadn't had that hat on, it would have been much worse.
This is a restaurant near us, so again, about a quarter mile away. It flew in through the window and it hit a man in the head. I am told he is doing okay. We spoke with workers about that horrific scene this morning.
People also was sitting here. Nothing happened. This guys are here, but the guy left second booth hit his hat though.
How's he doing?
He was okay, but I mean he was bleeding. A lot of bleed on his hat.
Just a shocking incident to happen in that restaurant, again, a quarter mile away from the scene. So you really see just how far the impact of this plane crash was, how far that debris was flying. That impact we're still learning more about. We're not going to know the full scope of it for hours and maybe even days now. But we do know at this point that
it's going to be years, Miss Reporter. It will be years until you have the full scope, because I remember there was the Schoharie limo crash near me where 20 people lost their lives. There were 18 in the limo, 2 in the parking lot where they went through, and that was years. So this is also going to take years to fully understand.
People who were on board that medical plane are not believed to have survived, and we are waiting to hear more about potential other injuries as well as soon as authorities are ready to speak to us here on the scene.
Wait, that's true. They didn't say. So there was a presser after I went live yesterday, but I didn't come back live because it wasn't a very long one, and they still weren't saying much. So I had thought they did confirm that the 6th had passed, but they didn't. So she was right.
Live in Northeast Philadelphia, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6, Action News. Maggie and Caroline.
That really puts it into perspective, Becca. Someone who is a quarter of a mile away eating dinner last night, and they're impacted by this incident.
Okay, and crap, I wanted to click on that one video because it showed and I was trying to find it earlier and I couldn't find it. Hang on a second.
Action News.
I'm just going to see if I go this right here. This is where I wanted to go.
Continue to follow the breaking news.
So we're going to actually do a slight little detour. And we're going to just take a look at this one for a little bit. Because I wanted to put this one in my live, but I couldn't find it. So I was like, well, I guess I won't show it. But thankfully they showed it again.
News on the crash of that medical jet in Northeast Philadelphia.
A Learjet 55 went down around 6 o'clock last night, shortly after departing from Northeast Philadelphia Airport with 6 people on board. Ring camera footage shows the plane descending before a massive explosion. A large fire burned in the wake of the crash, prompting a significant response from emergency crews. Vehicles in this area could be seen on fire. Police said multiple people on the ground were hurt, and we spoke with witnesses who detailed what exactly they saw in the aftermath.
I know that lady that was going to the buffet, so scary. And then, I can imagine also there was no sound on that camera, at least that they played. I can't imagine the sound that they were able to hear as well. I mean, I would have ducked for cover too.
There was a fireball, there was debris everywhere. There was people running back and forth. There was so much stuff happening at once.
And it was just very graphic.
There is no word at this time on what caused the jet to go down. Right now, we do know that there are multiple investigations underway. The NTSB will have boots on the ground today to determine the exact cause of the crash. And Chopper 6 is live over the scene right now here in Northeast Philadelphia, where crews, they cleared out for the night as those fires were put out. But you can see in this area that there is just debris scattered across the roadway. We do know that officials are expected to hold a news conference this morning to bring us the latest in this investigation. But obviously, this is an investigation that will span blocks here in Northeast Philadelphia and is sure to take a significant amount of time.
Yeah, and it's starting to appear that we're getting to look at some of the parts and pieces of this medical aircraft right there near the crosswalk near Cotman and the Boulevard. We do have team coverage as we continue to follow this breaking news. Let's begin with Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson, who's live at the scene right at the perimeter at Cotman Avenue. Becca.
Maggie, like you said, I'm at Cotman and the Boulevard, only really a couple feet from where this tragedy happened yesterday. We've seen more police officers come onto the scene as the morning comes on. Investigators, of course, keeping a tight perimeter around the debris field.
Of course, they're keeping a tight perimeter. They don't want people in there messing around. Restaurants will never be safe for them again. Yeah. NTSB is going to be busy. That's sad. Team Britt says nope, and that's sad because they probably really enjoy eating out as a couple like that. Horrifying. Yeah. Is that a tailpiece? Let's see. Where was it that they showed it? Right here. I don't know, because they had pictures of like the type of jet it was, but I don't know like where the writing would be. The one that I saw with a medical symbol on it wasn't the same color as the one that was in the parking lot that they had shown. So,
aircraft right there near the crosswalk near Cotman and the Boulevard. We do have team coverage as we continue to follow this breaking news. Let's begin with Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson, who's live at the scene right at the perimeter at Cotman Avenue. Becca.
Maggie, like you said, I'm at Cotman and the Boulevard, only really a couple feet from where this tragedy happened yesterday. We've seen more police officers come onto the scene as the morning comes on. Investigators, of course, keeping a tight perimeter around the debris field. Investigators, including from the FBI, NTSB, coming out to the scene this morning to really determine exactly what happened here as a plane fell from the sky, causing devastation. We all know how busy the boulevard is, how many businesses are in the area, how many houses are in the area, just how heavily traveled it is and how many people were impacted. And the video, just shocking. Take a look at the neighborhood surveillance video. The moment that plane crashed from this Ring video, the impact, devastation, a massive fireball exploding in the sky. That's happened between 6.
And this is the video where initially I thought it looked to me like the jet may have already been on fire, but then the other one that they had shown, it didn't appear to be. So
it's in 6:30 last night on the boulevard near Cotman Avenue, a medical transport plane with 6 people on board, a child, a pediatric patient, her mother, and 4 crew members, all of whom were not expected to survive. It was a Learjet 55 that had just left Northeast Airport, according to authorities, on its way to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. And this video from Chopper 6, we see the massive crater in the ground, the pieces of the plane surrounding it, the burn up cars from the impact of this fire, the devastation.
So, I mean, honestly, I thought that it would be bigger. I mean, you have a plane. I don't know.
That this crash caused in such a busy area prompted, of course, the massive response of law enforcement officers, firefighters, state troopers, PennDOT, the DEP, other organizations, NTSB, FBI, so many different authorities on the ground here trying to figure out exactly what happened, creating this safety perimeter. The number of fatalities and injuries still unknown at this point.
Right now, we're just asking for prayers for any and everyone who may have been.
And so this press conference was the one from last night. So we do know that as of this morning, 7 people have perished, 6 on the plane and 1 in a car at the intersection. Oh, maybe Team Britt, maybe it was sideways. True.
Affected. We do want to note that several dwellings and vehicles were impacted. So what are we asking you to do for us right now, Philadelphia? We're urging you to please stay away from the scene. If you see debris, call 911. Don't touch anything.
That's a really important point from the mayor there. That debris needs to be handled by the authorities coming out here to investigate this scene. They need to be able to get their hands on it to figure out exactly what happened, what caused this tragedy. We are here at Cottman and the Boulevard waiting for more answers, expecting that press briefing around 9 a.m. this morning. For now, live here on the Boulevard, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6 Action News. Maggie and Caroline.
What a massive and devastating scene there. Thank you, Becca.
Let's go now to Action News reporter Corey Davis. He is also live on the scene now where the force of the explosion just sent debris flying all over across the area. Corey, kind of bring us up to speed on what it looks like where you are this morning.
Maggie, we're at Cottman Avenue and Bustleton. Take a look behind us. This is really a straight.
Okay, so he's at Cottman and Bustleton. The other reporter was at Cottman and Roosevelt, which is on the other side of that shopping, like where the Dunkin' Donuts was. So he's on the opposite side.
View of the majority of the scene here, spanning several blocks here along the Roosevelt Mall where we are at the moment. Witnesses have been giving us firsthand accounts of disturbing scenes that they saw out here after that plane went down in this area. This is
wait, is this the... I don't think that's the reporter who kept saying things that were inappropriate. I think this guy might be different. I was just thinking that. The Learjet is relatively small compared to other passenger planes, so to speak. It's so compact as to how it's built. I think there will be small pieces everywhere. Yeah. Sad.
Very busy area, of course, with a lot of traffic during the height of rush hour. Restaurants and homes around here, too. Firsthand accounts giving descriptions of hearing the explosion and then seeing debris just raining down onto people, cars, and the homes and businesses out here. People were in the drive-thru at the Wendy's here at Cottman and Bus.
Oh, my gosh. And I saw this one video. I assume it was the dad with his 2 little boys. And it was after, so they were leaving. I'm not sure what store they were at or what restaurant, but they were leaving and the little boy's like, let's go. And the dad's like, we're going. And you can see these little fires, burning debris just kind of scattered about. And, another news station, I don't know which one, was interviewing a 10-year-old boy. Like, come on, media. Why are you interviewing a 10-year-old? I mean, I understand, like, you want, this little boy's perspective, but I'm pretty sure he's probably very traumatized, just like the adults. But, we as adults hopefully can process our emotions a little bit better than a 10-year-old. It's just, I don't know why they do that.
Bustleton, as well as the McDonald's over at Cottman and the Boulevard. A lot of similar accounts of what people saw. Take a listen.
It was like a boom. We all stepped back and it was real crazy. It was like real bright.
I definitely saw debris falling. There's all over Cottman. And I mean, I was scared to run in, but at that point you can't get scared.
And that man did say that he did eventually run in to try to help as much as possible, and he saw people in distress. So that alone is traumatic for the so many people out here who witnessed various parts of the plane crash. Bustleton Avenue is open right now to traffic, and it's moving pretty slowly. It's getting a little crowded. We notice people are kind of inching through the intersection. Some phones are sticking out of the window, people trying to take pictures and document. And as the mayor said earlier, they're encouraging people, if you can, to avoid this area and to move through. The last thing you want is for first responders to have to deal with any accidents while they're still trying to work this investigation. It spans several blocks, and they have a whole lot of work to do. It was raining yesterday, and right now, of course, it isn't. And when we get daylight for the first time, that will be a big deal for investigators as well, as they try to go through the very expansive amount of debris that's out here, and also try to narrow down exactly how many victims are in this area as well. Reporting live here in Northeast Philadelphia, Corey Davis, Channel 6 Action News.
You know, Corey, you mentioned about those victims. We know that 6 people were taken to the hospital. Those people were on the ground. 3 of them treated and released. 3 more still receiving care. But of course, we'll expect updates on those numbers as well.
And we do know this morning that Shriners Children's Hospital of Philadelphia has confirmed that their patient was on the medical jet that crashed. We learned 6 people were on board that plane. All of those victims are Mexican nationals. There was a child who was a patient, her mother, and 4 crew members. They were in Philadelphia for transportation after medical treatment at Shriners Children's Hospital. That jet was headed for a stop in Missouri as part of its trip back to Mexico when this disaster occurred just minutes into this flight. We talked with a...
And I had read today that it was it had only been in the air about 1 minute before this happened. It had gone about 3 miles. So Yanni says, this is sad. Little girl comes to get better and on her way home. Just sad. I know it. Just Irish says, the tinfoil hat in me will always wonder if this is meant to distract us all. Yeah, the trauma for sure. I mean, even, just the people there, or, you're driving down the road in this huge fireball. I mean, everybody in that area is going to have some type of trauma, in my opinion. When the unimaginable happens, it will rock your world for sure, right? And, I kept thinking about, if you weren't at my live last night or you haven't watched the replay, I do implore you to do so. I kept thinking about the man from Ukraine who they interviewed, and he said, he was from Ukraine. They're at war. And he thought I don't know if he heard it, saw it, he thought it was a rocket, that someone had launched a rocket that had hit. And just his story, I couldn't get it out of my head. I just kept thinking about him. I mean, you come here to avoid the rockets, and then you think that there's one where you're at. Yeah. Oops. Coincidence that other plane came from Kansas and this one was going to Missouri. Right. Both involved kids. Sad. Yeah. And the Wichita airport, I will say that's one of my favorite airports, because Wichita, it's a pretty big city. That's where I went to grad school, at Wichita State. It's a pretty compact airport. It might have changed. I mean, that was like 20 years ago when I was there, but it's just such a nice airport. And then, in the stories of some of, the victims in that, and the one girl who was on that flight, she was returning back to DC because she had gone to her grandfather's funeral. And like, her story is like just ingrained in my mind too. Just the amount of talent on that plane, of the people they've identified so far. It's really sad. The world's definitely going to be missing out. So planes falling out of the skies this week. What the F? Air traffic safety, etc., should never be compromised or political. I agree. I agree. Yeah, Yanni, I agree. From the videos, it did look like a rocket. I can understand how he felt. And just the sound of it too, like that whirring. That's what it is, a whirring, kind of like a whirring sound, grinding whirring. And it happens so fast. Hey, Patty, how's it going?
A spokesperson from the hospital last night where they care for children from all over the world.
Well, I think we're all still in shock. I think that, our patient ended her care at our facility today and had a send off by the team there. And I think we're all still just beginning to process, how something so tragic could have happened. And just the devastation of all of this, I think, hasn't even really started to sink in yet. But of course, not just for our patient, but for those on the ground and the medical crew in the plane. There's so many tonight that.
And the first responders, they're seeing this firsthand up close as well. And, just seeing the aftermath, they're going to be traumatized too.
That our hearts go out to. It's not just our patient, but of course, that's where our heart really is with our own patient. But just the devastation that we're seeing from this unbelievable situation is just so tragic.
And officials at Shriner is also saying, quote, because of patient privacy concerns, they cannot say any more about the patient and her family at this time. Our hearts and prayers go out to the families of the medical crew and pilots who were also lost in this tragic event. We will continue.
All right, so we're going to go back to. So the last thing I have is the press conference from this morning. It was around 9 Eastern. Those skating videos coming out of the team are hard to watch from the DC crash. Such talented kids. I know. And I saw a news clip today. A mom, a dad, and their son were all on that plane, the DC plane. Their daughter was away at college, and that's why she wasn't on the plane. But this poor girl lost her entire family. It's, and I see the pictures. I had seen they have recovered 41 victims. They have identified, I believe it was 26 or 28. Don't quote me on that. And they have notified 18 families. But there were 67 victims. So it's just so many people and so many people affected. And now this, more families being affected. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Be Real says, I can't imagine how the families feel. I know. All right. So during the presser, I will not talk. I'll be typing in chat.
Today is Saturday, February the 1st. I want to give you an overview of where we stand. This remains an ongoing investigation, so the situation remains fluid and active. Our Philadelphia Police Department, our Fire Department, Office of Emergency Management, first responders, with all of our local, state, and federal partners, they all worked through the night at this crash site. I want to personally give my deepest thanks to each of them and my gratitude for their persistence. At this point, we can confirm that there were 6 souls on board the plane that crashed on Cottman Avenue last evening. A pediatric patient, their mother, and a 4-person flight crew. This was a medical transport plane that took off from our nearby Northeast Philadelphia airport, and it was only afloat for a very short period of time before something went terribly wrong and it crashed. The aircraft a Learjet 55. It was en route to Missouri, according to our Federal Aviation Administration. I want to be very clear that the city of Philadelphia, we mourn their loss, and they are in our thoughts and in our prayers. We can also confirm that at least one other person perished in this tragedy, and this individual was in a car. We can confirm that there are also a number of other victims who were injured in this incident, and they are being treated in area hospitals. And thus far, our count is that there are 19 injured victims. But again, this is not etched in stone. The investigation is ongoing. Investigators are poring over the crash site right now. Further updates will be provided as soon as they are available, but I want to be clear that we will find a cause for this tragedy. Let me give you an update on utilities, gas, electric, and cable. PECO, we know that there have been households impacted, and PECO is working to restore power. The same goes for PGW. They are working to restore service. Interruption, for which we've learned has been minimum, but they are working on it. Our other partners, like SEPTA, there are detours, and you should check for updates on their website at septa.org for alerts and other advisories. We are encouraging as many people as possible in the area to stay home if you can, because this is an active investigation. However, I do want to note that we have members of our police and fire and Office of Emergency Management on all of our blocks. No Philadelphian who is in the impacted area should have a problem moving to and from their home if necessary and they have to leave. Let me also state, and this is very important, our local, state, and federal partners, they are all working together as we work to address this tragedy. And I want to give a special thank you to Ralph Hicks, who is the senior air safety investigator for the NTSB. I just spoke with Ralph shortly. I know the director is on her way. She may be here by now, but I want to say a special thank you to them, along with the FAA. Our governor, who was with me last night here and continues to be right by our side, Governor Josh Shapiro, our Pennsylvania State Police, Pennsylvania Emergency Management, the Department of Environmental Protection, of course, our Philadelphia Police and Fire, Office of Emergency Management, Managing Director's Office, the American Red Cross for Southeastern Pennsylvania, our School District of Philadelphia, all of the agencies and officials, we are grateful for your support. I have to now recognize, and this is essential, because again, intergovernmental collaboration and cooperation is essential. And I do want you to know that I have been told, after speaking with first responders throughout the night, that this has not always been the case. But with the support of the White House, with the support of our U.S. Senators Fetterman and McCormick, our congressional delegations in Evans, Boyle, and Scanlon, every state legislator who is present here, Reps Doherty, Nielsen, Solomon, and Bellman in particular, along with State Senator Picozzi, Council Member Driscoll, Commissioner Dealey, and the Mexican consulate is here. We want to thank you so very much. Your assistance in working with our medical technicians and scientists, it has been extremely helpful, and we are grateful for your partnership. What you witness here on today is everyone standing up together, and it is the standard operating procedure for how we will address this issue in the city of Philadelphia. The next thing we've received a number of questions about, and it's important that we listen carefully here. Shelter. There is a shelter at Samuel Fells High School located at 5500 Langdon Street here in Northeast Philadelphia. It is being operated by our Office of Emergency Management and the American Red Cross Southeastern Pennsylvania, and it is operating 24/7. The Red Cross disaster workers, they are there to assist anyone who's been displaced by this tragedy. Yes, people have already begun using the shelter, and we encourage anyone who needs assistance to take advantage of it. If you need to reach them directly, feel free to call 1-800-RED Cross for any kind of property damage as well, or for help in filing a claim. I want you to call 911 though if you need assistance other than shelter today. So for shelter, 1-800-RED Cross. Anything other than shelter, we want you to call 911. In addition to that, mental and behavioral health. It's extremely important. If you need assistance with any mental and behavioral health services, we have them available through the city's Office of DBIDS. That's our Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services. We want you to call them. And again, the facts, because there's so much misinformation being distributed on social media, and we can't control that. So we wanted to make sure you have access to accurate information here on today. And that number that you should call is 215-685-6440, or visit www.dbhids.org. Now, how to help others displaced or impacted by the tragedy. I happen to be a praying mayor, and I know that prayer works. And if you, the most powerful thing that you can do, if you're home right now, if you're anywhere across the nation or in the Commonwealth or the city, and you're saying, what can I do to help offer a prayer for our city? Now is the time that we need it. However, we know people want to help, and we are going to make formal, actionable ways available for you to assist. But we do ask you to please do not come to the site right now. Do not come to the site right now. It is still very much an active scene. No donations are needed at this time. No donations are needed at this time. If there is any formal structure, and this is extremely important, there is no GoFundMe established. Nothing has been established on social media to formally impact this. So if you are seeing that, Philadelphia, it is not formal, and we ask you to proceed with caution. I would stay away from it if I were you. We appreciate everyone's desire to help, and if anything changes, we will let you know, but we must. And this becomes extremely important as I, watch the NTSB along with the FAA work with our forensics department and our Pennsylvania State Police. Right now, they need the ability to do their jobs. And that's what we want to make sure that we give them. So they're going to continue the investigation and efforts at the crash site, and it has to continue without interruption. What about road closures? We've received questions about this as well. Go online at ReadyPHL to receive regular updates from our Office of Emergency Management. This includes information on road closures in the area and any relevant information for the public. Right now, I want to close by saying we're asking you to be patient. Your city is working around the clock with all of our local, state, and federal partners on every element of this tragedy. There are no silos. There may be specific lanes. There may be specific assignments that each of these respective agencies are responsible for, but the left hand knows what the right hand is doing, and they are collaborating on a consistent basis. And in our city of Philadelphia, my gosh, are we grateful, because we wouldn't have it any other way. We want you to keep those who perished or were injured in your prayers. For those of you who were wondering why we were so hesitant on yesterday to not give you any formal and or official numbers, it was because we knew those numbers would be moving, and we knew what would happen as daylight came upon us, that the investigators on the ground, and along with their communication with our area hospitals, they would gather more intelligence. So Philadelphia, I want you to know that we will not act in haste. as we are reporting on this issue. As much as we might want to communicate immediately, we will not share any information with you that has not been cross-referenced through cross-sector collaboration, and that's extremely important. We will update the public and the press regularly throughout the day. Thank you all. God bless Philadelphia. And now is the time for us to demonstrate what our One Philly philosophy means. I now want to turn it over to our governor, who's been here with us from the start, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me begin by affirming what the mayor said at the conclusion of her remarks, that the city is working around the clock to keep people safe, to understand what happened, and to be there for those who are impacted. The city's been working around the clock at the direction of a strong and steady mayor in Sherelle Parker. And I want to say thank you to the mayor for her leadership. Leadership matters in moments of crisis, and demonstrated here by Sherelle Parker, our mayor. I also want to reaffirm what the mayor said about everybody working together with common purpose. There are no silos or stovepipes. Instead, it is everyone joining forces together. I want to lift up those state resources that have been here in Northeast Philadelphia working around the clock, and I want to thank the mayor for referencing them. At the request of Commissioner Bethel, your outstanding police commissioner, Colonel Christopher Parris of the Pennsylvania State Police, who joins me here to the left of the mayor, has dispatched roughly 50 members of the Pennsylvania State Police from Troops K and M, and we thank them for their work here. PEMA, the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Authority, has been on the ground since last night under the leadership of Director Randy Padfield, who slept here last night to work together with Director Teal and the other leaders here in the city, has made sure that the city of Philadelphia has all of the resources they need. PEMA and the Pennsylvania State Police are no stranger to tragedies, and we will bring our expertise to support the work happening here locally on the ground. As I mentioned last night, I've been in communication directly with the United States Department of Transportation Secretary Duffy. He's asked if we need any additional resources. We do not. They have dispatched members of the FAA, and the NTSB has also been dispatched. We want to thank the federal government and our federal partners for their support. The mayor alluded to this earlier, and I just want to put an exclamation point on it. We are joined by several state representatives and our state senator for this community. Everyone is here on the ground. They're here on the ground, not just to address you, but they've been here on the ground for their neighbors. I know that the good people of Northeast Philadelphia this morning, as daybreak came, walked out from their homes, came down from their stoops, and saw carnage in their communities, saw fuselage, saw destruction, and saw things that no one should ever have to experience in their neighborhoods. We also saw the very best of Northeast Philly, neighbor helping neighbor, folks looking out for one another. That's the Philly way. That's the Philly spirit. That's what the mayor preaches all the time about One Philly. This is not just a group of emergency response professionals working together at the state, local, and federal level. This is neighbors working together to look out for one another. Our neighborhood has expanded over the last several hours. Northeast Philly to the entire city of Philadelphia, to the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and of course, to our neighbors all across the world. I want to make special mention of Consul General Carlos Obrador, who joins us here today. His nation suffered loss in this tragedy. We are with you, Mr. Consul General. The entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania stands with you. This is the One Philly way, outreaching our arms to bring warmth and comfort and love to one another. I'll close by echoing the sentiment that the mayor shared. She's a praying mayor. I'm a praying governor. And I want to offer my prayers to all of those who are impacted. May God's light shine upon this wonderful city and all of its inhabitants. May we lift up those who are mourning and those who are in a moment of strife. This is a time for us all to join together in prayer and in common purpose. And that's exactly what is happening here in the city of Philadelphia, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Madam Mayor, thank you for your strong leadership.
We are going to make sure that we take a few questions. Yes. What I want to do is ask our managing director, Adam Teal, and also our fire commissioner to come forward. Teal.
We've had, in this incredible tragedy that exists, the Philadelphia Fire Department did have 5 dwelling fires that were involved. Those fires are completely extinguished. Our fire marshals are on location continuing to investigate and search every one of those affected dwellings.
As anybody who's been here on the scene or seen the scope and the scale of this incident can attest, this is a very large area with a lot of damage. And we are still working in a number of different ways to assess that damage. Right now, we are doing another, what we call a grid search of this entire roughly 4 to 6 block area, a very dense area, to ensure that we have found everything that we need to find, that we have checked in, as you heard the mayor say, with all of the residents, and we will continue to do that. We have teams who are going literally house by house, door to door, and also our license and inspections personnel are inspecting all of those dwellings, all the dwellings in the area, so we can be sure that we don't have other hidden damage or structural damage, and it is possible that we will still find that. So as you heard, this is still a very active and fluid situation. It is entirely possible there will be changes to those casualty figures that you heard. And this is why, as you heard the mayor say, we are being very thoughtful and intentional about this. We have a number of patients who are currently in hospital. We have a lot of unknowns about who was where on the streets of this neighborhood last night at the time of impact. So it will likely be days or more until we are able to definitively answer the question about the number of folks who perished in this tragedy and the outcome for those who are injured. Right now, I would certainly echo, please pray for all of those affected by, otherwise keep them in your thoughts, this tragedy. Adam Teal, I'm the managing director for the city of Philadelphia.
Let me just state for the record that the NTSB, the FAA, all of our intergovernmental collaboration, it is all a part of an active investigation. When they formally have something that they can report, they will do a separate a press conference or press avail to affirm what they have recovered as a result of their investigation. But again, a special thanks to them for working in partnership with us. I also just want to state this for the record, because it came to light during one of our briefings earlier. There may have been some people in the area last night when the explosion occurred, and they may wake up and go out to get into their cars. They live in another part of the city, and they may have evidence actually on their cars. If that happens to be you, don't touch it. Just call 911 immediately. Our forensics unit, are just an amazing job, but everything is essential to us addressing this tragedy. So just call 911 if that's the case.
The area of impact, that area is roughly 4 to 6 blocks. And we also have debris in remote area where something happened with the aircraft, and that's something we'll need to leave the NTSB to talk about. So it's a very widespread area, and we are still trying to understand the entire scope. So as you heard the mayor say, it's possible that if you are somewhere not even near here, somewhere between this location and Northeast Airport, you may go out and find something in your yard, something in your car. Please, as you heard her say, don't touch it, call 911. We need to know that. This is still relatively early in the long-term trajectory of this incident. That will all be information you will hear from the NTSB at the appropriate time. The question about how large is this incident, we are still trying to understand that completely. For right now, call 911. If you have, it's very important. The police department has a very robust way that they deal with missing persons cases. So if you haven't seen somebody, you think somebody might have been in this area, you have a relative in this area, and you haven't seen or heard from them, and you're concerned, call 911, and we will take it from there.
That's it. That's it. Before we conclude, let me state for the record, Managing Director Teal, Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel, Dominic, our fire commissioner, I have to say a special thank you to each of you for your leadership. To my senior team, Tiffany Thurman, Chief of Staff for the City of Philadelphia, Sincere Harris, Chief Deputy Mayor, Vanessa Garrett Harley, Chief Deputy Mayor, and the entire Parker administration, cabinet. Thank you all so very much for your support and the hard work that you are demonstrating. We will get through this, and we will get through it together. Thank you all so very much, and we'll report back later.
Thank you.
All right, so just to recap, they did confirm that all 6 individuals on the plane perished, including that pediatric girl who had come to the States for medical treatment, and she had completed her treatment and was on her way back to Mexico with her mom. One person was killed who was in a car near the intersection where the plane crashed. And the fire chief had said they did have 5 building fires that have now been extinguished. The NTSB, I did see before I went live, the NTSB is planning a press conference at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I don't plan on going live for that, but things might change. Normally with those, they don't have a whole lot of information. It's more of, we're here, this is what we're doing, this is who has been assigned to, the lead, et cetera, et cetera. So I won't do a live on that. But thanks everyone for being here. Yeah, it was interesting that he mentioned that, because I was like, he was thinking about his words, and then he's like, there's a remote location where something happened with the plane. So I would presume that whatever happened with the plane, that's that location before it ended up, in free fall. But we don't know. Don't destroy the black box like the crazy girl on the series Yellow Jackets. Sorry, but I needed some humor. I haven't seen that. Yellow Jackets. I'm going to write that down. Ninja says, remember, they only found a piece of the landing gear from 9/11 wedged between 2 buildings years later, and that was a huge piece of debris. I didn't know that. So years later they found, actually, maybe I did. I feel like I remember hearing about it. And I agree. Like, I don't feel like, some of the debris could be in a very precarious location where, people may be looking in their yard, looking, on their cars. in their pool, but maybe they're not checking in whatever they might have. Let's see. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. I don't plan on going live tomorrow, but depending on what happens with this tragedy, I may. So definitely make sure you have notifications on. If you are new here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if I don't see you on these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.
Let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way even when I'm feeling down. I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shake me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone.